Hey everybody, Andrew here from Pacific Coast Auto, taking a look at the results of last week's auction picks. Up first, the Fiat Punto. The looks for this one must not have done it for anybody who was shopping for cars last week, because it went unsold with no bids. The electric mini car did sell, and it went for more than double Derek's guess. That one sold for $2,300. The Alfa Romeo went for well under Derek's guess. Somebody picked that one up for just $260. The target audience for bright pink double cab pickups must be pretty small. That one only got bid up to $1,340 and it was unsold. The S2000 did sell and it went for $14,120. The Toyota HiAce camping van got bid up a little over Derek's guess, but even $2,010 wasn't enough to take it home. The seller of the Daihatsu Miragino Turbo must be holding out for something because he didn't let it go even though it got bid up to $1,540. And finally, the RX-7 Type R did sell. It went for just $7,960. That's going to do it for last week's picks. Now here's Derek with this week's.
Hey guys, your voice actor is now changed to Derek. This is no longer Andrew telling you the prices, so welcome to our auction picks video. This week we have 11 picks that you guys picked from Facebook and our auction tool. If you want to participate, go to facebook.com/Pacific Coast Auto, and then you can come to our website here. You can search the cars, like you can pick a Mazda, a Tenza. That's actually a Mazda 3 in other countries, or an AutoZam AZ1. You can pick the cars, send them in. Just make sure that you don't send in USS auctions, because USS is so awesome and so great and so lovely that they don't let us use their cars for this promotional video. And no, they didn't pay me to say that. They probably have more than enough money when they're selling as many cars as they are. Anyways, let's jump into it. Our first one, our thumbnail one, was actually sent in by two people. I thought it was 3 people. Andrew, help me out here. The green one, the thumbnail one, that was sent in by 3 people, I thought you said? I only found 2.
It may have just been 2.
Okay, so if I'm missing you on here, you sent this one in. I'm very sorry about it. But this one, by far, is the one that gets the cake and gets the thumbnail. And so this is sent in by Adam Wynn and Grant Glaze. Adam Wynn says, "Look at the paint work, wow." And Grant Glaze says, "Wow." And then there's a conversation. Ryan DeClue says, "This is absolutely phenomenal." And Grant Glaze says, "I like the artwork." And Bill Courtney says, "Nah, that won't get you pulled over in the Bible Belt in the States." Which I've never been to the Bible Belt. I don't really know what it's like, but Canada is like one big Bible Belt. I looked at the statistics, and Christianity is bigger in Canada than it is in the USA on a per capita basis. Anyways, looking at this one, the first thing I noticed in this is obviously the paint job, but look at this front bumper. It totally looks like the 1990s Trans Am, which I have something that I have to admit here. That was one of my favorite cars when I was first getting into cars. When I was probably about 14 years old, I just thought that it was so cool with the big snorkel nostrils at the front. And I like the old Trans Am, like the Fire Chicken one. And so I did like that car. I don't, however, like the car that much anymore. I guess because of the low price, they can be a cool way that you can get into high horsepower if you really want to, but they're not really that great of cars, especially compared to something like the 240 SX here. But the pinched nose definitely recalls the looks of that car to me. And then, so this looks like a project car that nobody finished, and maybe spent too much money on the paint job, because it's not cheap to get a full car airbrush paint job like this. I don't know exactly how much because I haven't looked it up, but I wouldn't be surprised if it's somewhere in the range of about $5,000 or $8,000 to have this done, maybe even more than that. So pretty insane. And it looks well done. I mean, there's a little bit of uncanny valley in the woman. She is naked, and that's probably what Bill Courtney was talking about in this one here. Look at that. There's like a design here covering up the bum, but you can see she's clearly not wearing any pants, and the Bible people are going to be angry. And another thing, if you squint and look really closely, this girl here is not only wearing no shirt, but she's putting something cylindrical into her mouth there, and I can't tell what it is. Andrew says he thought it was a Pocari Sweat bottle, and that's like a sports drink here in Japan. Could be. You'd have to buy the car to find out, and so that's my sales pitch on this one. If you want to find out what this girl is putting in her mouth, then buy the car off of us, and then I'll get a special video. In fact, if any of our customers buy this car, there will have to be sort of a rule that the video has to come onto our channel, otherwise I'm not going to allow them to bid. Okay, so interestingness aside, the interior is missing some pieces of the dashboard here. It looks like some damage on the dashboard. Andrew pointed this one out. There's sparkly yellow on the vent here, but just this vent. Oh wait, around this speaker here may be the same sparkly yellow. And so the interior, oh, automatic transmission, that's cool. Weird. And then if you look at the back, so this is looking at the back seats from the front seats. You can see here's the passenger seat, here's the driver's seat, right? And so the whole trunk and rear seats have been removed. Looks like it has some sort of a air canister here, possibly, for air suspension. That's what this looks like. I can't really tell for sure. What looks like an air pump over here. And then these things, which I have no idea what this is. So it looks like a speaker box, but if that's true, and this is the only speaker that goes in it, then that's a 6 1/4 inch speaker in a speaker box that's big enough for a 10-inch sub. And so kind of weird. It could be that there's a sub in the rear that you just can't see here, but I'm not sure. Somebody threw some wood in the back. There's Dynamat everywhere. So it looks like it's a setup for a pretty cool car. Car audio, plus the air suspension, plus the pretty crazy exterior designs. Definitely not something that is your regular daily driver, but you know, the kind of car that's going to bring attention to a shop or at a car show or something like that. Pretty crazy. Okay, looking at the auction sheet, 240,639 kilometers is really high. It comes with the SR20 engine. They don't say whether it's the turbo or not. Okay, purchase from user, front bumper, spoiler, side and rear, under arrow, work 18-inch wheels, aftermarket air filter, aftermarket exhaust. Purchase from user, car, it was a trade-in, aftermarket steering wheel, tail lenses and arrow mirrors, air suspension, front tower bar. And so it doesn't say anything about the turbo. I'm guessing this is going to be a non-turbo SR20. The body is in perfect condition except for some paint fade on the roof. Odd, because they didn't actually airbrush the roof, they just painted it black. And color changed to green. For sure the car never came in this shade of green. And yeah, wow, naked girl with things in her mouth. Condition, under the battery has corrosion, left front tire house panel is dented, full repaint, AC doesn't work. Smoothing is the Japanese word for taking the door handles off. And so this car has smoothing, because if they didn't do any smoothing, she would have a door handle sticking out the side of her face, and that's not very attractive. Yeah. Okay, I don't really know what else to say about this. There are a couple of things that I'm not going to get into because I got 11 picks this week and we got to run through these a little bit quickly this time. Price-wise, it's really hard to say. You're definitely not going to get the value of the paint job back on the car when you sell it. Not even close to that. In fact, this might lower the cost of the car because not very many people want to drive around with this. I know that my wife would absolutely not sit in the passenger seat of this car while driving around, and there are going to be other people like her too. And so, price-wise, I get really high mileage, really weird condition, unfinished project car, but could be awesome to the right person. Non-turbo, I'm guessing. I'll say probably 250,000 yen on this one. Is going to be my guess. I could be way off with that one, but we'll see. On to the next one, sent in by 3 people, Jose Oval, Ioanni Esparza, and Grant Glaze, sent in this one here. It is an AP2 S2000. We don't get a lot of people asking for these cars. I think we've only sold 2 of them, and it kind of fits into a weird category of a car that people love it a lot, and that's what keeps the price really high, but your average buyer can find better value in a different car. This is going to cost a good chunk more than the same year's Impreza, for example. More than double the amount, almost 3 times the amount. And so for the average person, the Impreza is a lot easier pill to swallow than paying a very high price for an S2000. But it is a unique car. They are well built and they have an amazing engine in them. The AP2 has the 2.2 liter engine which gives you the better low-end torque. I don't know an awful lot about the differences. I know this front bumper only came with the AP2 version. And then it's got a carbon fiber hood, and it has vents in the carbon fiber hood that make it look venty, and the rear spoiler that makes it look spoilery. I'm making up words as I go. Listen to the sound. I don't know if you can hear that because the mic's pretty far away. That is the sound of the auction alarm. We're bidding on something. Andrew, what are we bidding on?
We're bidding on a HiAce.
It's a HiAce. Okay, so manual transmission, 6-speed. They only ever came in 6-speed as far as I know. 35,184 kilometers is really low for a 2009 S2000. It says Mugen carbon fiber hood, Mugen air filter, Mugen hardtop, Mugen rear wing, Mugen exhaust, and then Type S front bumper. So I guess that this bumper lip is specific for the Type S. I wouldn't have been able to tell you that, but that's what the seller is saying here. And then the condition looks to be pretty good with some repainted areas. So W2 is kind of hit and miss. It should probably be okay on this, but it looks like it's a fairly high mica metallic paint that you may be able to see some differences in the mica levels. So alloy wheel scratched, various scratches on the car, otherwise really great condition. The AP2 has a 2200cc engine, and so that puts it in the higher price category in Japan. Now, I don't know the answer to this, but it might be that the AP2 is not as expensive as the AP1 because you have to pay more for taxes here in Japan. I don't know. I think most people around the world would pay more for the 2.2 liter than the 2 liter, but that might not be the case here in Japan. But I don't know. As far as price on this one, 2.2 million, I would say, is the price on this. Okay, on to the next one, and we were just talking about Imprezas. Cool. Okay, so we have a GDB Impreza. That would be the STI version, and this is a WRX STI 2003 version of the V Limited. So the V Limited was a special limited edition. I think they made, like, depending on the model, between 555 like they have here and 1,000 units. And the reason why they go with 555 is because that was one of their sponsors back in the 90s when they were rallying. It's a cigarette company, and it's pretty well known, the 555 together with Subaru. It's kind of a match, and so that's why they continue with the 555 units made. Only 13,845 kilometers is extremely low for one of these cars. This is a 2004. And this one here has my favorite looks of all the Imprezas, is this one. And so a lot of people, they say, no, you got to be traditional, you got to like the GC8 more than any other Impreza. But I really like the way that these ones feel compared to the GC8. Not saying that the GC8 is bad by any means, but I like these ones, and I especially like the one with the blob eye and the aggressive hood scoop here, roof scoop, and picnic table on the back with subtle stickers. I could go without this one or this one, but I like the Subaru sticker on the back here and the yellow stickers on the fog light covers. And I can hear Andrew frantically clicking his bids in behind me. Okay, so it's a limited edition car. It's not that limited. It's going to up the price a little bit, but not much. But the mileage is low. The body condition is good. Underside has some corrosion, but in a car this otherwise clean, I think it would probably be worth it. It's an auction grade 4.5, interior A-, exterior A-. And so condition is amazing. You could just have the underside repaired for a very small portion of the cost that it costs, the price that this vehicle costs. Exterior has some stickers on it, it says. Otherwise, in good condition, and A2 scratches on the front bumper. Now, for price of this one, it's going to be pretty high, I think. These ones typically sell anywhere in the range of 750 to like 1.4 or so, but I'm going to guess this one will go up to 1.8. Did we win that HiAce?
We did.
Yay! Is it going on the channel?
Nope.
No. Sorry, everybody. Oh, another alarm. Okay, I'm so excited. I want to go over there and see what our bids are doing. But are we going to win that one too?
Probably.
Okay. The next one here, Skyline R31, sent in by Kevy Match, or Kevy Mac. I don't know how to pronounce your name. I'm sorry, Kevy. I have to say I love your name, Kevy, though. It's like the 90s boy band version of Kevin. And I think Backstreet Boys would still be more popular than they are today if the Kevin character was named Kevy. That's my prediction. And so this is a two-door R31 Nissan Skyline. And one thing I wanted to mention about this car, I love this car more than I think most people realize. It's just a better car than people realize that it is. And I was thinking, just before I shot this video, that this era, like the early to mid 80s, was the time that Japanese cars were the biggest distance ahead of competition from other countries' cars than at any other time. And in terms of build quality, reliability, and styling is subjective, but I could probably throw that in my own personal opinion. The interior I absolutely love, and I love the gauges, how it has the horizontal and vertical lines here. It's very TurboGrafx 16 looking to me, very cool. Steering wheel looks to be in great shape. The buttons all feel high quality and well made, and it's just something that you don't get in cars these days that are made to meet a price point, made to be cheap. And at this time, Japanese manufacturers had all the money in the world because their currency was very weak at the time, and so that they can make tons and tons of money by making these cars. They exported a lot of cars to America, brought that profit in, and then made the best cars for the Japanese market, and this is one of them. So if you've been thinking about an R31 or maybe not thinking about one, I think you should really take a look at them more seriously. I think that they're great cars. The R32 is a better car, I think, in many different ways, but the R31 I think is very special indeed. And so 688 kilometers makes it really low. It's a 5-speed manual. It's original black and gray two-tone. Looks like it has a set of really neat aftermarket wheels on it, and condition looks to be pretty good. HiAce lamp is on. This must have been one of the first cars with HiAce, which is the 4-wheel steering system from Nissan. Seat is saggy. Otherwise, I mean, good condition. Oh, a B3 in the rear bumper. Let's have a look and see if we can find that. Okay, probably this one here. The old Nismo marker on there. Very cool. And yeah, price for this one. R31s, we don't get too many people asking for them, but the car is 30 years old with 55,688. I think the value of these might be more in Japan than it is outside of Japan. Probably, I'm going to go with 850,000 yen on this one. No, I can't do that. Okay, I'm going to go with 1,000,000 yen on this one because the mileage is just really low. You never see these with this low mileage. So, okay, going to go with 1,000,000. On to the next one. I got a bit of a story to go with this. When I was in high school, I was part of a team of how many people you can fit into a Volkswagen Beetle, and then you could win something if you could fit the most amount of people into it. And we could get 24 people in, and I wasn't originally on the team because I didn't have 24 friends when I was in high school, but they had 23 people in, and then they were shouting from the outside, "Hey, Derek, come inside the car because we could probably fit you." And so I laid right across the ceiling here and curled my legs in so that we could close the door, and we ended up winning. So congratulations for us on winning that. Not really me, I wasn't part of the team, but I was the deciding factor because second place got 23 in. So very cool. Anyway, this is a split window Beetle. You can tell because there's a split in the back window, very easy to recognize, and the smaller window, and then they went up to a bigger window, and then they went up to a bigger window, and they kept making the window bigger, and as the window got bigger, the values of these go down. And also really tiny tail lights in the back. Don't know an awful lot about these Beetles. We did just buy 2 of them, and so I, in the last 2 weeks, had up close and personal experience with the Beetles, and they're way more fun now than they were when I was like 10 or 12 or 14 years old, when you would see them all the time on the road. Nowadays you don't see them anymore, and they're still good, easy to drive cars for being how old they are, and you can't really say that for all cars. And so they're very cool, easy to get into and exit. Even the back seat is fairly easy to get into. Doors are really big. Engines are easy to replace with modern engines if you want, or easy to restore because parts are available. So I think the Beetles need more love these days, and we might be seeing prices go up. Now, I can't say what a split window is going to run you because there are people who know about split windows way more than I do. It looks like the condition is pretty good. The body is pretty much perfect. This is the original color, which is going to mean a lot to a collector's car like this. It's a 1952 with a 1.2 liter Boxer 4-cylinder rear mount engine. Mileage is unknown because they say it's unknown on here. Engine oil leak, and there's a bunch of notes here. Nothing really that scares me off. Seems like it's in good condition. Starting price is $2.5 million. I might be eating a crow pretty soon, but I think that this one will probably sell for like 3.9 million yen. I might be way off though. Might be way off. 52. The license plate has the year of the car on it. Cool. Okay, on to the next one. That one, oh, that was sent in by Kevy Match again, and he says, how about a very desirable Volkswagen Beetle split window? And Bill Courtney says, well, split windows, doesn't say what year. And then Neil Davis says, I think it's 1952, imported into Japan in 1999. Oh, that's a very good point, Neil, and sorry if I got your voice wrong. Here it says 1999, and here it says 1999. That's the year of first registration in Japan, so it was exactly as Neil said, imported in 1999, but actually 1952. And then there's a spot in the auction sheet to say that, but they didn't actually write it. Where I don't even know where that's supposed to be. But he did call it a 52 here, and so we know that. We know it now. On to the next one. We have, oh, this is a HiAce van. And Andrew and I were joking before we shot this video, how many people do you think that you could fit into this one? Same as the Volkswagen Beetle contest. And if you could fit 24 people in a Volkswagen Beetle, I bet you could fit 100 people into one of these. I bet you could. Especially if they're small, frail, and nerdy people like me. Okay, HiAce, I would love to have one for a company car, they just sell for too much. This one is a 2013, and they've basically looked the same since about 2004, I believe. HiAce Long Super GL. This one comes with an automatic transmission and a 3000 cc engine that is diesel. Auction grade 4, interior B, 7611 kilometers. Lots of notes here for sales points and notes. Seats have covers on them. Electric folding mirror doesn't work, and then the bed has been modified. And so people modify the bed like this so they can get cheaper insurance by registering it as a camping car. That might be what has happened here. I don't really know. And body looks to be good. It looks good in black. Aftermarket wheels, aftermarket front grille. These are cool vans. This one has the extra little window here for opening. But yeah, prices are pretty expensive, especially compared to older HiAces. You can see this one starts at 1.8. We'll probably see this one sell for around 2.3. So that's going to be my guess on this one. On to the next one from Elijah McDonald. Oh, and Elijah McDonald sent in this one here. There's my ADD going off again. I can't seem to pay attention to what's going on. Okay, so this is called a Mitsuoka Ray. Mitsuoka is a company in Japan that takes Japanese market vehicles and then modifies them to look a little bit different. Interior, exterior, and they do a bunch of different cars. They do a lot of Nissans. This one is based off of a Daihatsu Mira, and they also do one on the Mazda NC Roadster, and they made a really cool S13 that looks nothing like an S13 as well. I think most of their vehicles are based off of Nissans, though, if you just look at how many were made. They're fairly rare. Not a lot of people buy them, and they look kind of quirky. They do everything from tiny little cars like this to large S-Class size vehicles. Or I guess it's based off the Nissan Fuga, and so not quite S-Class size, maybe 5 Series size. But this one here, what's really cool, and okay, so there's a little bit of explaining that needs to go into this one. So this is based off of a Mira Gino, and the Mira Gino is a Austin Mini replica K car, and the front end looks like an Austin Mini, like the classic old style Austin Minis. A very cool car, very cheap car. But this one, they put the face on And this face is based off of an old version of the Mini called the Elf Wolseley. And the Elf Wolseley was a very limited production version of the Mini that had a different face on the front, and it actually had a 3-box style, like 1 box, 2 box, 3 box. It had a full trunk, and it came out here and then down like that. And Mitsuoka, you really, really needed to put that back trunk on the back of this. If you're going to copy the Elf Wolseley front, that is a half-done job. So I'm very upset with you, and I'm never going to buy your cars again because of that. Interior-wise, it looks like you get fake wood trim and possibly real wood on the steering wheel, possibly fake wood. Otherwise, not much has gone into this car. And so it is cool. I think it looks neat. Definitely is going to draw attention to you because people are going to be like, what is that? Especially if you're not in Japan. This is a very tiny car. It's only slightly bigger than the original Minis, but you get 4 doors and you get appropriate seating for everyone, and it's comfortable and it's reliable. None of the things the original Mini was. Okay, so automatic transmission, 660cc, 92,278 kilometers, octane grade 3.5, interior and exterior B. Body looks to be fair with a couple of medium-sized dents here and here. Okay, what does it say? Core support is dented, end panel is dented. Exterior has some paint peeling and paint fade, headliner is scratched, and aftermarket wheels on it. Ooh, aftermarket wheels that are probably worse than the original wheels. I wonder if this car came with a set of special wheels, or that they came with the regular ones from the Daihatsu Miragino. Okay, as for price, I don't think it's going to go for that much. What do we got as a start price? 0 yen for start price. I'm going to guess 18,000 yen for this one, which is 150 bucks about. Because nobody's in the market looking for the Mitsuoka Ray, I don't think. Okay, on to the next one. We got more K-car action here. This is a Suzuki Cappuccino, probably lauded as the best K-car that you can get. It is a full convertible hard top. You can take this off 3 pieces on the top and a fold down section in the back. Has good structural integrity, a longitudinally mounted engine, rear wheel drive, and puts out 64 horsepower or roughly 70 horsepower. Yeah, the K-cars are limited at 64 horsepower, likely to have more than that. Okay, 127, 625 kilometers, 5-speed manual transmission. This one's a 1993, so not quite importable to the USA, but you can import the Cappuccinos now if you are in the States under the 25-year rule that they have there. Brake master cylinder underside has some corrosion. That would be a no-no for me. I don't want firewall corrosion on my car. Seat, upper area, and interior liner parts are cracked. Muffler has a corrosion hole in it. Core support has been replaced. Front cross member replaced. Front inner panel has a corrosion hole. So it looks like the car needs quite a bit of help. Nonetheless, these cars still sell for more than most other K cars because they're really cool looking. They're pretty fast. You can make them really fast. And there's a big market for them. They have a good following, good aftermarket support. And so I would say we're probably looking at about 230,000 yen for this one, which is really on the low end for these, considering that corrosion that's in it. Love these seats. Very cool for a K-car seat. And they drive really well. No power steering, though. And so you have to have strong arms, or it will give you strong arms. Nardi steering wheel. I think that's the stock steering wheel on this. Okay, and so that one was sent in by Brandon Decker. He says Suzuki Cappuccino because I want a K-car coupe in the States, especially either this or the AutoZam. I was going to post an AutoZam, but it was from the USS auctions. I'm really curious on the pricing of these. Yeah, so Cappuccino is usually between about 250,000 up to a little over $1 million. The 1.2 is on the high end for the Cappuccinos, but most of them, the condition that they're in sits them at the price somewhere around 500 to 600,000 yen. Okay, to the next one, Raymond Liang, and I'm only going to slightly show you this because this is a Chyrsler vehicle that you can't get in the States, and Chrysler's a weird company right now because they don't really have any cars that anyone is paying attention to. And so it's weird to see what Chrysler is doing in other markets. And so this is called a Chrysler Epsilon, but it is actually a Lancia Epsilon. Lancia is the Italian company that is owned by Fiat and Fiat Chrysler, and so there's where the connection is. And so this is kind of an interesting vehicle. As far as I know, it's based off of like the Lancia Delta, like not the old boxy four-wheel drive rally one, but the kind of economy car version of the Lancia Delta that was in the early 2000s. Might be the same size, might be slightly bigger. I've seen the cars side by side. I think this one looks a little bit bigger than the Delta does, but it might be on the same platform, I'm guessing. Interior looks reasonable for a modern car. This kind of looks ugly to me, this boxiness. The gauges themselves look cool. The boxiness of it and the position of it is a little bit weird. And then the floating gear shift, but at least it is a manual transmission. Oh no, it's not! Those liars! Oh, but at least you can make people think it's manual transmission. Just put your hand on it every once in a while and make sounds with your mouth. So it's an automatic transmission, 19,600 kilometers, Chrysler Epsilon. It says gold, Epsilon gold. 4.5, A. Body is perfect. Underside has corrosion, even though the car is only 2014. Tisk tisk for using poor quality steel. Speaking of which, one of the big steel manufacturers in Japan was just found to be lying through their teeth to all of their suppliers and the regulators on the quality of their steel. And so many manufacturers of cars around the world buy steel from them. And so that if your car is rusting at only 4 years old, maybe this person bought from the Japanese steel company. Can't remember the name of it. Bad short-term memory, Derek. Okay, anyways, the price for this one, 450,000 yen. I'll just throw something out there because I've never seen how much one of these sells for. Never seen one. Next one's a little bit more interesting. A Grant Glaze sent in this one here. It is a Lancia, not Lancia. I got Lancia stuck in my head. Lancer Evolution. Tommi Mäkinen Edition. And so Tommi Mäkinen Edition is commonly known as the 6.5, Lancer Evo 6.5, because it's better than Lancer Evolution 6. You get different bumper on it. You get slightly different rears. I think you get slightly different rear spoiler. I think so. I could be wrong about that. Usually you get some cool decals on it. You get, I think, a different gear set, and you get a turbo that has titanium propeller shaft in it. And seats that say Tommi Mäkinen on it. Yeah, and so a bunch of things on them. They're the best Evo 6. A lot of people call this generation of the Evo the best one, and so the prices go up, up, up for these ones. Typically, prices of the Tommi Mäkinen are between 1 million and 3 million yen, but this one has a big boo-boo. They've color changed it to purple because it only ever came in white for like 90% of them, and then they came in blue and black and red, with red being the second most. No, pardon me, let me rephrase that. That's for all Evo 6s. For the Tommi Mäkinen, they were mostly red, and then white was second most common, and then they had black and blue. And maybe another color. But red by far was the most common, with the Tommi Mäkinen decals that go on the side. Very cool looking car. But this one has been color changed, and that's going to drop the value of the car, because these have now entered into the class of being classic cars. And classic cars need to have the original paint, or you're throwing your money away. And so it is cool to have an Evo that's this color, but your value is going to be going down because of that, which may be a good time for you to snap one up if you can get this one for a good price, especially if you don't care about the color, or you just don't like any of the colors that the Evos come in. Okay, so it has 5-speed manual transmission, 88,750 kilometers on there, Blitz intercooler, Blitz exhaust, final speed wheels that look kind of ugly in my opinion on this car. I think the original Tommi Mäkinen wheels are different from the Evo 6 wheels, and they look much better than these ones in my opinion. Aftermarket blow-off valve, original Recaro seats, original aftermarket tail lights, aftermarket steering wheel, aftermarket air filter, still has current registration on it. Left front inner panel bracket is dented, and the roof has been replaced? Weird. Roof replaced, but really nothing else damaged because of an accident. That's somebody falling on the roof of your car from stories up. Very weird. Okay, roof replaced I think will lower the value as well, and we have some peeling paint on the rear bumper, but otherwise the body looks to be in pretty good shape. I'll call this one 1.4 million and see how that does. 1.4. If it were in original unmodified condition, we would probably see this one a little bit below 2 million, or maybe a little bit above. But I'm going to say 1.4 on this one. Okay, and we got one more here. This one from Perry Chapel, and we have another Evo. Would you look at that? So this one is an Evo 3 and has been modified with changed front bumper and spoiler delete on the back, which is a shame because the spoiler in the Evo 3 is the first picnic table that they made, first Evo that had a picnic table. It also has some of the coolest side skirts ever. It says Evolution 3 in the side skirt here. I think it's at the back, right here. Evolution 3. They're cool cars. It's the first Evo I ever bought was an Evo 3, or the first Evo that Pacific Cosato ever bought. That one unfortunately had an engine that was broken because people drive these really hard. And I don't think that they're necessarily unreliable vehicles. I just think that for a very long time they were owned by people who didn't maintain them as well as people would these days on a car that's a classic car. I do really like the wheels on this one, especially with the meaty tires. I think meaty tires is something that probably should come back. I really like the look of that, instead of these tiny little slivers of tires that are super stretched. Not to be wrong about that, but I really like the look of it. I just think that these ones are a cool look as well. And then this is the stock front mount intercooler. You can see that clearly through the bumper, and hood vents, and then the turbo vent here. Big tack. I think that Perry, he says Evo 3 is what looks to be the world's biggest tack on it. That would get in the way of your eyesight for where you're driving, and so be careful not to run people over. And kind of a neat little thing here with two regular size gauges and one smaller one with what looks to be a boost controller here, possibly turbo timer. Cool. Well, Evo 3s aren't much on the market these days. Evo 1 or 2 or 3, if they started in 1992, they would technically be legal to import to the US, but you just can't find them anymore in Japan. Evo 1, 2s, and 3s are all sold out. They come up every once in a while, but not very often. And so when they do come up, I jump on them and end up paying a little bit of a higher price because nobody else is going to have these cars, and people want to have the car that nobody else has. Our starting price here at 100,000 yen. Have some rust on the roof, which is an Evo thing. And looking at the condition, we have some rust in the engine room. AC doesn't work. The manual transmission is broken and it pops out of gears. The vehicle overheats. The idle is shaky. Looks like a lovely car. Okay, nonetheless, an Evo 3 is still going to bring in the money, and so I'm going to guess 250,000 yen on this one. Okay, and that is going to be the end of this one. Looks like, wow, we're almost at 40 minutes. Jeez, Derek, you need to stop talking so much. Okay, end of the video, and see you guys again next week. Bye for now.